Every version of keto strawberry pretzel salad that I know of swaps out pretzels for crushed nuts. They use like pecans or almonds and just hopes that nobody will notice. But let's be real, we notice. It's not really a pretzel salad. So today I'm going to show you how to make a true keto strawberry pretzel salad that actually uses real pretzels in it. Yes, they're low carb, and no, they're not just made of almonds or pecans pretending to be something that they're not. Let's do this. Instead of using boxed jello mix, we're making our own keto-friendly strawberry gelatin using frozen strawberries. Trust me, it's going to taste way better. You'll need to get a 3-pound bag of frozen strawberries, and the key is to thaw them out ahead of time. I just put the whole bag in the fridge the night before I plan to make this so that they're ready to go when I am. 2 pounds of our strawberries is going to get pureed into a sweet, silky strawberry base, and then the last pound is going to get thrown in as whole strawberries just to add a little bit of texture to our strawberry jello. Now that we have that important prep step out of the way, let's move on to the pretzel crust layer. First, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and then spray a 9x13 baking dish with some cooking spray. But let's talk about the pretzels. I'm using my favorite low-carb pretzels from a brand called Beyond Twist. If you've watched some of my videos before, you know that I've used these pretzels before for several of my recipes. I love them because they're crunchy, salty, and perfect for recipes like this. I mean, it's an actual pretzel. They've got just 2 grams of net carbs per serving, and a serving is 17 pretzels, which that's a lot of pretzels. Plus, they pack in 18 grams of protein. The only downside is that they're not gluten-free, but whatever, YOLO. Am I right? These pretzels come in a 6-ounce bag. I'm going to add the majority of it, except for 1/2 cup. I'm going to take that out and reserve it aside. You'll see what I'm going to do with it later. But add those 6 ounces minus the 1/2 cup into a food processor, along with a 1/4 cup of your favorite sugar-free sweetener that measures cup for cup with sugar. Pulse that about 15 times until they're coarsely ground. You don't want to go full dust here when you pulse these because we actually want some crunch in our crust. Then pour in 12 tablespoons of melted butter and pulse for 10 more times until everything is combined. Pour this into our lined pan and then press that mixture firmly into the bottom. I like to use the back of a measuring cup, but you can use something else that has a flat bottom like a spatula or a clean shoe. Bake this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. And then rotate it halfway through though, because I found that one side cooks a little bit faster than the other side, or maybe it's because I need a new oven. I really hope not though. It should become fragrant and start to become golden brown after about 10 minutes. Pull that out and let that cool for around 20 minutes while we move on to making the cream layer. In a mixing bowl, beat 8 ounces of softened cream cheese with a 1/2 cup of sugar-free sweetener. You want to beat this until it's light and fluffy. Should take around 2 minutes on medium speed. Then while the mixer is running, slowly pour in 1 cup of heavy cream and crank it up to a medium-high speed and keep mixing it until you get soft peaks. Should only take about a minute more. Then spread that whipped cream cheese layer all over the cooled crust, making sure to go all the way to the edges. This helps to seal it, keeping that strawberry layer that we're going to add on top from sinking down into the crust, which would make it soggy. So cream goes all the way to the edges. Pop it in the fridge to let it cool while we start working on our strawberry gelatin layer, the star of the show. Now, hopefully you remember to thaw your strawberries like I mentioned in the beginning. Take 2 pounds of your thawed strawberries plus a little bit of the juices from that bag and toss it into a food processor. Don't use the dirty one because you don't want to have chunks of pretzel in your jello layer because it's going to get soggy and have a weird texture. Blend the strawberries until they're smooth, which should take around 30 seconds or so. And we just want to use the juices here. So we're going to try and get out some of that pulp and some of that fiber from the strawberries. So you want to pour it through a fine mesh strainer that's set over a saucepan. And to help encourage some of that juices to flow through and to get as much as we can as possible, I like to use the back of a ladle or a spoon and just press that into the strainer, and it should just encourage a lot of that juice to come through and reserving the pulp. You should end up with around 2.5 cups to 3 cups of strawberry liquid. To that puree, you're going to add the remaining 3/4 cup of sugar-free sweetener and then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You want to cook this over medium-high heat until the sugar dissolves and little bubbles start to form around the edges. This should take around 5 minutes, and after that, you just want to remove it from the heat. And we'll work on the gelatin part. For this, you want to grab a large bowl, not a small bowl, a large bowl, and sprinkle 2 packets of unflavored gelatin over a 1/2 cup of cold water. The reason why you don't want to use a small bowl is because a lot of that gelatin won't reach the cold water and it's not going to bloom properly. Trust me, I know from experience. Let it bloom for about 5 minutes. It should start to look like a science experiment. Then you're going to whisk in the warm strawberry puree until it's smooth and the gelatin is incorporated. Remember that 1 pound of thawed strawberries that we reserved? You're going to add this to your jello mixture. Then pop the whole bowl in the fridge and just let it cool until it starts to thicken slightly around the edges, where the edges kind of slightly start to cling. Should take only around 30 minutes. Don't decide to watch Netflix for a couple hours, because then the whole thing might set and then it's not going to be able to just pour onto your cream layer nicely. It's going to plop on. Trust me, I know from experience. Once your strawberry mixture is ready, gently pour it over the chilled cream layer and spread it evenly. Then refrigerate the whole thing for at least 4 hours or overnight if you're planning to make it ahead of time. And trust me, this dessert gets better as it sits. I know from experience. When you're ready to serve, top it with whipped cream, some of those reserved pretzels, or a few fresh strawberries if you're feeling fancy. Then have a slice and try not to eat the entire pan standing over the sink. Trust me. This dessert is salty, sweet, crunchy, creamy, and actually low carb. And best of all, it's not trying to pretend to be something that it's not. It's the real deal keto strawberry pretzel salad. And if you want another summer keto dessert recipe that uses real ingredients and tastes just as good as the original, click right here, because I show you how to make a delicious peach cobbler using real peaches. And it's keto.